K-Rockcast, the podcast where music and perspectives collide.
I'm Anne, a music lover who's the ultimate fan.
And I'm Kelly, a professional musician. Join us as we dive into the world of the Rose and other Korean and Asian rock bands.
Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll wildly disagree, but what's guaranteed is a passionate, hilarious, and unfiltered conversation about the music that unites us and the bands that inspire us. Hi, everybody. We're back. This is episode 8, Into the Red. We had to record an updated hot take section because so much is coming out about the Rose. We know this episode's going to air on April 10th. We're recording just this section on April 2nd because we wanted to take some time and be able to talk about the photosynthesis teaser that was released earlier in the week and also the Once Upon a World tour poster. Now, I know when you're listening to this, we'll have already had episode 1 of photosynthesis, but that it hasn't aired yet while we're recording. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a hot takes in a future episode. And also you'll notice as you listen to our deep dive into the Red album, we actually recorded that before the information came out about the Rose's comeback. So keep that in mind as you hear us talk about that album and kind of that we hadn't heard from the Rose up to that point.
Yes. God damn you, Kim Woo-sung.
Yeah. So Kelly, let's dig into this photosynthesis teaser. I think in our Spoiler King special episode, we laughed hysterically at the poster. I mean, I think it's become one of your infamous one-liners now of the Ketchup Factory accident that is the red turtlenecks in that poster. Which is hysterical.
Oh.
So I think you kind of called it. You said in that overview that you felt like it's going to be like a mockumentary, kind of tongue in cheek. You even wondered if they were thinking about a different way to use some of the funny TikTok type of content that they normally would put out because at that time we didn't know in the United States if TikTok was going to be banned. We got this 55-second teaser and I think again, like we always are, Kelly, we are fucking aligned to the Rose because we see just from this teaser, it is 55 seconds of hilarious antics.
Sorry, I've just started laughing already just thinking about
You're just thinking about what we saw.
Well, no, I mean, I've literally, it's the opening seconds of it and the cutting regarding Long Johns.
Oh my God.
And I can't even quote the line because it just makes me laugh. But I think what's even funnier is the fact that Jay pulls up his jeans and it's one of those where it's just like, hold on a minute, you've got white socks and then it's what? And I mean, it literally looks like uncooked chicken.
The Black Rose that created that meme of like the raw chicken and compared it to the color of his leg. But we say this about Jay, the daggers. And can I just say, Jay, I'm watching you, buddy. Ain't nobody talk about Sammy's mama. And his dagger teasing Sammy about his clothes turned into a compliment quick when he found out.
It's funny that, isn't it?
That Sammy's mama bought those long johns. And now they're suddenly cute. Right? Yeah.
Well, he's probably gone out and bought himself a pair. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, now I've got Yosemite Sam in my head in reference to Long Johns.
Sammy's, you know what? We talked about this in a previous episode when we were talking about him in the Would You Rather of like if we would trust him dressing us for something important, that he always just kind of wears the same thing. So when he was on his tour in the New York show, there were a pair of pants that he wore in that show that looked like dark jeans and they had this rip in the leg. But in reality, they were actually like sweatpant material, but they didn't look like it. They looked like legit jeans. This man has worn those pants, I would say probably 6 to 7 times, at least what we've been able to see on camera. He loves those fucking pants. And I think those were the pants he's wearing in that little part. And I think he wears them throughout most of recording this show. But the man loves
It
his pants.
it worries me slightly that you keep that amount of information stored relating
There
to
there's I
what
mean,
he's wearing.
there is a reason why I've won Wusong trivia, so it doesn't come with
Yeah,
not
that's
knowing all the intricate
just because she's
things.
sad. Jesus Christ, honestly.
I told you.
My God.
Okay, I think there's some interesting things about this teaser, and obviously we didn't get a whole lot. We only got 55 seconds. I think one stark thing is this is completely different, Kelly, from the previous documentary series we had with the Heal Project and In the Bloom, isn't it?
Very, very much so. And I think what's probably happened is because we saw photographs of things being recorded when they were at Coachella.
Mm,
I think that relates back to what would have been a very serious documentary following on from the whole In Bloom thing, etc.
mhm.
And it would have sat perfectly alongside of those. I think this has been done very quickly, obviously over the winter because how the guys are dressed.
Right.
We know Cali Boy's slightly nesh, but I mean, even the rest of the guys are wrapped up warm.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
and it's this has been done quickly, and I mean for them to edit it,
mm,
editing video takes so much longer than editing everything else.
so not to get too far ahead of ourselves, what's so different about it is it appears like from the teaser, I'm getting a sense that it's maybe a challenge. Like there it's obviously comedic. I feel like maybe they have challenges that they have to do.
It reminds me of Epic High.
Yes. It
It
kind of
reminds me of
reminds
the sort of theme for the week or the challenge for the week or
right.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely similar to that. And I feel like in a lot of the clips, there's things related to taking a picture, drawing a picture. Dojun has a video camera, and then it's photo and then synthesis. So I think I think there's something related to them that they're going to do throughout where they're taking photos, capturing video. Maybe they've got to put it all together by the end. Maybe that's the synthesis part. But there's some sort of
Possibly. Yeah.
challenge like related to that. And then I think it's interesting that obviously throughout they interact with people. So they've got
Mm.
kids they're interacting with. There's kind of young adults or teenagers they're talking to. We don't see their faces in that clip, but they're obviously not fans. Like they're people that don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting too. And then in a lot of the shots, they're in what appears to be like some sort of garage.
Yeah, it does look like a garage. It does sort of remind me ever so slightly of that 70s show without the
Yes.
smoke.
Yes, it does. It
Yeah.
does. And here's where my mind went. So Hajun told us in a live, one of his spoilers, that they had a writing session in Busan. And I do
Yeah.
remember him saying they made a lot of amazing memories together. And I wonder if
Yeah.
this was filmed maybe during that time.
Possibly. I wondered the same, to be perfectly honest, because I
Yeah.
mean the garage doesn't look like a set. And if it is a set, by God, it's been dressed exceptionally well, and whoever the set
Oh,
dresser is needs,
right.
proper round of applause for that one. It does genuinely look like they've been plonked in somebody's garage and just left to fend for themselves, shall
And
we say.
it kinda looked like it just didn't look like the streets of Seoul to me.
No, there is that. It's not got quite that hustle and bustle, had it?
Right. Which I was like, "Okay, they could be in Busan," and so I guess we'll see again, listeners, we'll see
Mhm.
how close we are when we actually watch it. It's coming out in 2 days from when we're recording this, but I think it looks hilarious. I think it's very different kinda content than we've seen from them, so I also noticed it didn't come past me that at the beginning, Kelly, it says, "The Rose Original."
Yes,
I
definitely.
felt like that means something.
They seem to be doing things a lot more in-house.
I feel like that's this whole different direction in their album. I think
Mm.
they're doing all of that in terms of like all the production and all of that in-house. I don't think they worked with outside producers on I don't think we're gonna see that on
No,
these
I
songs.
I mean, they will have had somebody in at some point, because generally speaking, for your own sanity, you do need somebody in just to mix and master.
Yeah.
You do need that extra. I mean, you can do quite a bit yourself, but sometimes you do need to just have a separate set of ears just to go, yeah, actually, that's it.
Mhm.
But as it comes for production and that, I'd be very shocked if they've got lots of people involved with it like they did previously.
Yeah, because the Duel album had a lot of external producers working in on those
Yeah,
songs.
and bearing in mind, I mean, every producer that you add, every writer that you add, that's just a percentage coming off of your
Yeah,
credits as
that's true.
such
That's true.
as a musician and a songwriter yourself.
Well, we'll see. We also don't know how long these episodes are gonna be. So I think Kelly and I will see how long they are, kind of what the content is, whether we think we'll do separate episodes and maybe dive into them as in part of our deep dive, or they're just enough for us to highlight every time in like our hot take section and kind of talk through them. So more to come on seeing what comes out of photosynthesis. I think the other part we got today on April 2nd is the Once Upon a World tour poster. Kelly, if we thought
Mm.
a week ago some stirring was going on, wow, I think fans are up in a roar today about the tour. And I felt like for you and I, again, I think you and I just have a different perspective maybe in some ways. I think I would like us to kind of give a little more context from our perspectives on some of the
Yeah.
concerns I think we've been seeing from fans around the tour. Um, and, I mean, disclaimer, obviously we don't work for the Rose and we don't talk to the Rose. So these are our
No.
own thoughts and opinions, but I think they're very sound and probably valid. So I
Yeah,
think they're worth sharing.
exactly.
So the tour is going to kick off right after the release of the album. So if you guys remember from the marketing schedule, the album release date is May 30th. The first tour date kicks off in Zurich on June 9th. So that's only like 9-10 days after that. So right away. And then they're going to be touring throughout Europe. So we've got June 11th in Vienna, June 13th in Paris, June 15th in Amsterdam. They are playing 2 shows, so 2 nights in London, and that's on June 17th and June 19th. They go to Dusseldorf on June 21st, Warsaw on June 23rd, Berlin on June 25th. And then wrapping up the European part is on June 27th in Aix-sur-Alzette. So that's quite a bit of dates throughout Europe. But I think one of the things that a lot of Black Roses notice is they're not doing any of the Scandinavian countries in Europe.
Mm.
Then they pick up and starting on the North American part of this tour. July 6th, they'll be in Minneapolis. July 8th in Chicago. July 10th in Toronto. July 12th in New York. July 14th in Boston. July 16th in National Harbor. July 18th, Atlanta. July 20th, Miami. July 23rd, Sugar Land, Texas. July 25th, Grand Prairie, Texas. July 27th, Tempe, Arizona. July 29th, Denver, Colorado. August 1st, Seattle. August 3rd, Stanford, California. August 6th, Inglewood, California. So that wraps up the North American. And then they do have some kind of South Central American dates. August 8th, Sao Paulo, Brazil. August 10th, Santiago, Chile. August 12th, Mexico City, Mexico. And then they are rounding out on August 30th in Seoul, South Korea. Now, remember, there are 2 festival shows. One is in Jakarta and one is in Bangkok, August 22nd through the 24th. So they will have those
Yeah, it
Asia
is.
festival dates prior to their Seoul show on August 30th. So let's dig into some of the feedback that we've been hearing. I think I mentioned about some of the cities and areas in Europe. I think I also kind of heard some feedback of a lack of Asian venues, cities.
Mm.
Even though, as I kind of mentioned, there's 2 other festivals. I think fans need to remember that. So there's really 3 coming up in August.
And they have already played Bangkok as well.
And
Please
they've
bear that in
already
mind.
Yeah, they already played Bangkok, back in February. And then I think the other feedback is when we looked at some of these venues, they're very small.
They are exceptionally small.
A lot of them are small. So why don't you kind of start giving your perspective on that?
So the mass majority of these venues are what you would class as 3,000 capacity.
Mm.
They will be mixed venues. Generally speaking, there'll be amphitheatre venues. So you will have a quarter to half standing, and the rest will be seated, and they'll probably be on a raised section at the back. Now, I personally, and I did say I didn't expect them to do a tour until the fall. So
Mhm.
I'll hold my hand up. I got that one wrong. I said that because I know how long it takes to book an arena tour. It
Right.
isn't quick, folks. 6 months is like you've managed to get in on something that's been cancelled.
Right.
Normally, arena tours, you book a year in advance.
Right. Right. I think
And
I think that is
so
so key for our listeners to maybe understand. I mean, and we talked about how we were just amazed that they were able to pull an EP together in 4 months and all of the things that had to go into it. I think fans need to understand how hard it would have been to, as you're saying, Kelly, find open venues, right? And so I think
it's and especially in what you refer to as the down season as well. Generally speaking, what happens is with all theatres, whether it's a theatre, a music venue, anything like that, you have to have a set time of the year when you are closed for repairs.
Mhm.
All venues do it. This is when you get your lighting rigs updated. This is when you go round and disinfect everything and stop making the floor sticky. Um, you all have to have that certain level of downtime to make sure that the venues are safe enough. I mean, you've got to bear in mind, most of these venues have exceptionally large, heavy equipment hanging from the ceiling and various things like that. There's a level of health and safety that's involved with maintaining them. So there is normally a downtime when they're shut. So to actually do dates during the summer is strange. To be perfectly honest, it's strange. I'm saying that as somebody that has worked front and back of this business.
Right.
And when I say when I'm on about sort of working backstage, I'm actually on about putting the shows on. I'm on about the ticketing side of things. I'm on about actual bands being put on and the length of time that it takes to set these things up. This is incredibly quick.
Yeah.
So the company that I used to work for are an independent company in the UK, but they actually own some of the really historic venues. And they are generally speaking all about the 3,000 capacity level, like
Right.
these venues are. And a lot of the bands, we would know that they were playing a
Yeah.
minimum of 6 months in advance. So for them to spring this out this quickly,
Yeah.
they have literally, their pants have been on fire doing this.
Right. So I think for our listeners, I think that hopefully that kind of helps to understand if you're kind of confused of maybe what cities were picked or what venues were picked. I mean, I think there was limited choice. And based on the
Definitely.
timing that they wanted, you know, their whatever reason they're choosing to tour at this time. I mean, I honestly was expecting the start of the tour to probably be September. So I was kind of thinking they
Same.
were going to do the 2 festival shows and then kick off their Once Upon a World tour in September, tour all the way through the fall and maybe even then into a winter leg. So
Oh
this is
God, yeah.
quick, right? And I think they needed to just not be picky and probably picked the venues that were available. I also think the other side of it is a smaller venue, in all honesty, fits with the theme of this chapter in their,
It does.
you
Yeah.
know, their
With this more
concept.
stripped back to the
Right.
root.
Right. If this is
Definitely.
yeah,
It fits more with it, yeah.
I think this show is gonna be more of an acoustic show. I think these smaller venues lend
Yes.
themselves that it could have more of an acoustic show. So I'll just speak to the National Harbor venue. I've been there multiple times. It is small. It is very small. The stage
Mhm.
is small. It's not going to be a stage in which There's a lot of pyrotechnics going off on the side, and there's not some huge LED screens. It is very intimate. And I think when
Mm.
we heard the sound of this album, this stripped back, personally, I think this is going to sound fucking incredible in these venues. I think it's going to be an intimate show. I think it's going to sound amazing. I think the downside is there's probably less people who are going to be able to come because of how small these
Yes.
are. And I think that's
Yeah, they
where
are.
there's a lot of concern from fans of how hard is it to get tickets, right? If everybody's trying
I'm
for these
I
venues.
mean, I've heard people go, "Why are they doing 2 dates in London?" Well, the reason they're doing 2 dates in London is the actual venue that they have picked, the Indigo O2, only holds 2,750 people. It's
London
tiny.
is a major city in terms of probably fan base
Mm,
for them. So they wanna try to maximize and get as many as they can. I mean, you obviously see they're not doing something in LA. I'm actually surprised they're not doing like multiple dates there in Englewood. That's probably the closest one to
yeah.
LA. They've got one up in the San Francisco area, but I know again, the National Harbor, it's 3,000 max
Mm.
capacity. So these venues, as you said, they're probably all going to average about that size. I
I
think it
think
matches where they
I
where they are in terms of the type of show they're probably going to have in their set list. But the downside is it's going to be less tickets.
yeah, I think the biggest venue is actually Dusseldorf, I
Mm.
think. I think that's one of the biggest venues.
Now, I think the other piece of feedback has been around how they're doing the ticketing this time, which is very different than what they've done in the past. And so when this episode airs, ticketing will have gone and passed. So we'll see how it
Mhm.
turns out for them. Um, but the way that they are doing it is the pre-sale starts on April 7th, and what you buy would be your entry ticket. So you can choose
Yeah.
whatever level of entry ticket you want. If you want to upgrade to a VIP package, there are 3 VIP packages available. I highly encourage you to look on the website or on our Instagram account. We shared out the information as well as the Rose has shared out the information on all of their social medias on these different levels of VIP. But that happens the day after. And so there's a separate ticketing event through the Rosarium app if you want to upgrade. But what I think is confusing for fans is you're not guaranteed an entry ticket with your VIP. So I don't know exactly how the different levels of entry ticket will be. If most of these venues will have a general GA entry and then a seated entry, or if there will be seats in some of these. There is no general standing, and you could, in theory, I could get a front row seat at National Harbor because I have been there when it has been all seated. And then you know, I don't get a VIP, but I'm right up front and I
Yeah.
get yeah. Or
I
the
I
downside
to
is
to
I can't
me,
get that and I'm all the way in the back, but then I upgrade to VIP and now am I sitting in the back, but I have the highest level VIP package. I think that's what's confusing for fans.
yeah, I can understand that. I mean, to me, it's not confusing, but then again, I go to a hell of a lot of gigs. So I will just put that out there. And I go to not just sort of, you know, K rock gigs. I mean, I go to classical shows and everything. Um, so something to bear in mind is it is a very normal practice this to sell a general admission ticket with an upgrade. It's a
I
very English thing to
I
sell
think
an upgrade.
I think that makes sense, but I think what we're
Mm.
not sure is will every venue have a general admission? Or like I said at
So
the venue.
the size of the venues wouldn't dictate multiple levels of ticketing pricing. So for when it's something like a capita of 3,000, generally speaking, it will be a general admission price.
'Cause at
The
the
only
venue,
difference
it's
will
not how
the
it is at
only difference
it's not how it is at the venue, where I've been. I paid a
Yeah, but
hell of
you're
a lot
you're
of
you're in
money.
America
I
you're
paid
in
a hell of
America
a
and
lot
you
of
lot are
money to
just
be front
weird.
row for Bruno Mars, and that was not a GA, it was a seated and it was front row. So, I
Yeah, but
think
that's Bruno Mars, so that's
but
allowed.
that's what I'm saying, it's the same venue, so I think it'll be interesting. That venue, has the ability to remove all those chairs, and the front is general admission
Those
standing.
chairs, they yeah, those chairs will be out. I don't think they will have it as a seated front. It will be standing down at the front, and then at the back it'll be seated.
That's
I would be shocked if it was seated.
That's what I'm thinking because that's the to me, that's the only way this method makes sense. So then the strategy is you just get a GA ticket. You don't get a, seated ticket. You get a GA one and then you choose to upgrade the next day if you want to, and then you'd be able to likely still be up front, I feel like. That
But you
seems to be
see,
what would make
in the
sense.
U in the UK, you kind of have the choice of whether you want to stand or sit.
Mhm.
And it is literally all to do with your ability.
Mhm.
Because obviously over here we do have very stringent access laws for people, and rightly so. Um, so it would be quite an open thing. You'd buy your ticket, it'd be a general admission ticket, but you would choose whether you're standing or whether you're seated. Um, there might be a slight difference in the price for standing and seating. Sometimes there is, but you're literally talking 10 quid if it's something like that. It's not much. There's
Mhm.
very rarely much between it. And then the uplift would be obviously you then pay for whichever VIP edition you would like on top. So over here, O2 do it. So it's the O2 where it will be taking place. I mean, they actually do their own editions. So you can
Mm.
have VIP editions. So you have VIP entry, and this is on top of their VIP.
Mhm.
So I mean, a lot of them you can have VIP entry. You can sit and you can have a meal before you go in, or you get drinks or whatever, and then you get preferential entry and all this and that is actually something that the venues just do. It's not just sort of like you're in with
Right.
everybody else and then you've got to sort of yeah. So I mean, it is something over here that's quite a natural
I
thing.
think at
Um,
the, LA Shrine Auditorium where Sammy had his Before We Die tour, that venue had options like that because we were kind of
it
considering
did,
them at one point of, should we try
yeah,
something like
and
that?
yeah, and it was a VIP entry, and then you ended up on the balcony, didn't you? I think
Right.
if I remember correctly, and I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I'm not standing on the balcony.
Yeah. Right, right. Yeah, and I think
I
even
am
in the New
kind of
York venue, because I can remember groups of Black Roses, like, putting on the Rosarium, like, that they were gonna get a table, and so if what you got, as you said, through the venue is you got a seat at the table where you could order food and you could have drinks, and it was still
yeah,
it was honestly a decent vantage point for him because that
yeah.
was such a small venue. Yeah. I mean, to me, I think back to the concern of the Black Roses, I feel like the only thing that would make sense is that all of these venues are going to have a GA option that is, like, open standing, and it's not going to all be a seated venue, because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense to me, but I guess we'll see.
No, but I mean, saying that, I mean, there are people that do go, and I know this happened at Wembley. There are people that went in for the VIP, went and did the sound check and everything else, and they were sat. They were sat. They'd actually got seats.
Mhm.
So they took their seats and watched the sound check from their seats. So it does happen. And I mean, they also had the chance, if they wanted to, that they could have gone down onto the floor and viewed it, but they decided to take the seats straight away. So you can do it. It does make sense. I don't want to sound like I'm sort of belittling the concerns of a lot of the Black Roses and people that want to get tickets, but I do think there is an unnecessary panic.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean
It's not a big tour, so I understand the, "Oh,
Mhm.
crap, I might not get a ticket." I do understand that bit. Actually, I would probably say what is more than likely going to happen is the Black Roses will buy all of the tickets, and there won't be much of a general sale.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree with you. I anticipate this is gonna sell out just with the Black Rose, like, pre-sale, for
I
sure.
I would have thought
And I've
so.
seen a
I
lot
would have
of
thought so, to be honest.
I've seen a lot of comments now on the Rosarium. There's a lot of new fans coming on that have said, "Okay, I signed up my membership just for this," and fans that have kinda come back out of the woodwork, that maybe haven't
Mm.
really been very active on the Rosarium, but now they're excited, and so, yeah, I think there's been more activity in the last week on that app. I laugh because I was like, God, there for a while, there was like a group of 10 of us that kept that sucker alive. I was like,
I know. I mean, it literally became our notice board, didn't it, for a
I
while? I
was
mean, there
like,
was
oh
literally
God,
about 10 of us
there's
just shooting
other
the
people
shit all
on
day.
here besides Eva
It's like,
and
what's this?
Monica
Hold on a minute.
and
It's
Irina
like, isn't this just our Discord? What's going
and
on?
Ava
How rude.
Rose. Like, I didn't know there were other people. I'm sorry. I thought this was
It's
our
like, who are
private
these?
server.
Who are these people?
So shout out to all the Black Roses in the winter, as Sammy called it.
Yeah,
That were
all
keeping
all of
that
all of
that
us
app
that did
alive.
who didn't go into dormancy.
Yeah, we didn't. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, Sammy. We started this podcast while you were, heads
Yeah, we
down,
got bored.
recording your new album. Oh
Um, I,
man.
I I will actually say something here though, and I mean I might be very wrong with this.
I don't
I
know,
think this
Kelly.
is
We are soothsayers over here. We are mystics. We
well,
have a crystal
you say
ball.
that.
We know it all.
I said autumn tour, didn't I? I did say an autumn tour,
Yeah, okay. So
and I
we
was
didn't
wrong
have that
about
one
that.
right, the rose. I guess we got one thing wrong.
I got one thing wrong. Crikey, honestly. Drag me off to the stake. Right. I think we are potentially going to get a second leg
Okay,
tour.
that's what I was about to say because
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to say we're wrong yet, Kelly, because I'm with you. Black Roses,
Yeah.
this is just the beginning. So,
This
don't get
is just the beginning.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Even if you can't get tickets to this leg, Black Roses, there is so much more coming. I do not believe for one second that our guys are just going to stop on August 30th and go back into hiatus mode. No. Kelly and I surmise there's more music to be released. And I think they're probably
Yes, I
working
think there is.
now on booking for the fall and the winter of 2026.
Yeah, I think we are potentially going to look at possibly some winter shows in 2025.
I think
And
so.
then we are looking at spring, and we are looking at festivals in 2026. They're going to hit the festival circuit in 2026, I would have thought.
Mhm.
They'd be stupid
Yeah.
not to. They've missed it this year.
Yeah.
And doing things like Lollapalooza and everything else is a huge draw for them. And if they want to bring in new fans, it's what they need to be doing. Obviously, we know they've already got other music recorded. And I
Mhm.
mean, if you want to, I mean, the thing is to keep people entertained, you have to take them on a roller coaster ride. So sometimes you just
Mhm.
have to pull it back. And at the moment, this is just the climb.
Yeah.
So this is stripped back. This is the climb up to the start of the actual roller coaster ride. I think there's something else coming. I mean, Sammy
I do
did say
too.
the next 2 to 3 years. There's
He
plans afoot.
did. He did say
There's
the next
plans afoot.
2 to 3 years. I think that was purposeful, right? So you're right.
Yeah.
They have
Come on.
more
You
in
you you
store.
know you know this bloke's already got arranged for sort of like this is 2 to 3 years because year 4 will be his next solo album,
And
which is probably
AJ,
already half
there
written.
we go. AJ can be able to be his DJ out on his next solo tour.
That's it. It can take his little brother out with him.
Finally, finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe AJ will come out on this tour.
Possibly.
Ooh, what a cool addition. We could have AJ in the back as like a DJ with them as the band.
Yeah. No, I
Sammy,
don't
if
think
you're
we're going to get the Slipknot
listening.
happening.
Sammy, if you're listening, I'm
I,
just saying.
I can't see him in boiler suits and masks somehow.
What do you mean? What does that
That's
mean?
gone over your head. Oh my God.
What
I
does
need
that
to
mean?
educate you, woman. Slipknot!
Oh,
My
Slipknot.
God, you
Okay.
live under a
If
rock.
you would have made like a Marshmello reference, he's the DJ that like has the marshmallow
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah. No, but that's not what I was thinking.
Mm. All right. Well, the rose, if you're listening, there's another golden idea out there for you. I do have
Crikey.
people come in our
There you go.
DMs sometimes and ask me questions, and I think, do they think I work for them? Because we don't work for them. We really don't.
I actually had to say to somebody the other day, I was like, "I'm not their PR. You do know that, don't
Yeah,
you?"
I really did. I've had to say like, no, I don't know. We don't work for them. I don't know. I don't know what that means that people think we do, but whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know whether we speak with some level of authority or if we're just really good at bullshitting. I think it's probably the latter, personally.
I'm telling you that email's gonna come someday now from windfall.com with the cease
Yeah.
and desist letter.
Cease and desist.
Bitches, get off the air. You're spreading lies.
Yeah, shut up. You're spreading lies.
We're gonna have this formal email from Clive. He's gonna be like, sorry, bitches, get off the air. They found us, Kelly. God damn it, they found us.
Damn. God. Damn it. Well, these women that have to advertise things.
I know, man.
How rude of you.
All right, Black Roses. Well, I guess that's it for now. Good luck. Again, when this airs, the ticketing will be over, which is so crazy. So, wishing all the Black Roses the best of luck of whichever shows you want to see. Hopefully, you get what you want. And like we said, if you don't get what you want, I think don't be too disappointed because I'm sure the Rose is going to continue to perform throughout the rest of 2025 into 2026. This isn't the only chance. This isn't the end. This is only the beginning. So before we get into the songs on the Red single, there are two songs we're going to talk about, Red and California. I kind of want to keep our listeners going with the history of the Rose and kind of where they were at this point in their career. We're in 2019 now. Again, they debuted in August 3rd of 2017. So before they released this single, they actually performed on a Korean competition show from April 12th to July 12th of 2019. So kind of a big portion of that year, they were occupied on a show called Superband. Have you ever seen episodes of this, Kelly?
Yes. Yes.
I've only
And
honestly seen kind of bits and pieces. Like I've never actually like sat down and watched like full episodes
I
of the content.
obviously I saw the content.
Yeah.
So like the opening round and then subsequent stuff that Sammy had been involved with as he developed. And then I remember finding the actual full album and listening to it and being blown away by the other musicians that were on as well.
Yeah.
The level of musicianship on that show, second to none.
It was a really good experience for them. So the show invited indie musicians to perform, and then kind of what they did was they formed new bands, like they kind of
Yes.
intermixed the musicians themselves
So
and then competed against each other.
yeah, so the Rose were the only band that actually went in as a band. The
Mm.
rest were all people who'd been in bands, but they kind of just gone in themselves. And
Yeah.
then they were all sort of mixed around and then reconnected. But the heartbreaking thing is Sammy was the only one that progressed
Yeah,
further
so
in the rounds.
he was the only one from the Rose that advanced after the first round, and so he went into this group of other musicians, and they called themselves Monet. I don't have the names of the other musicians, unfortunately. I didn't put that in my notes, and
Oh,
they got
hold on.
ultimately
I
to
could have told you.
yeah, I should have looked up
Isaac
who they
Hong is
were.
in there.
Say that again?
Isaac Hong is in there.
So they got 4th from the finale. So they got pretty far. For Uzang, there's some iconic covers that he did that I think have come out of this experience. One is Sign of the Times, and most famously is ILYSB, which originally done by the group Laney, which I'll be kind of honest, I think there's a lot of fans that think that's his song. Not
They
Lainey's
do.
song because
They do.
There are not many covers, in my opinion, in which somebody does it better than the original artist, but this is one of those songs that I would say Sammy owns this song. Like, this is now his song, in my opinion. Like, he did this cover so well. I think it was such a big hit for him. And it was funny, we have a Billboard magazine article that we're going to link that had some really great details from this time, and they talked about their experience on this show, and they all kind of said that this was really a growth opportunity for them,
Mm,
that they really, I think, learned from these other musicians, and it was nice to kind of be able to work outside of the four of them, to work with
yeah.
these other musicians, and it helped them push outside their comfort zone. So I think they probably really learned a lot from this experience.
You do in those type of environments when you're working with other people that don't necessarily work the same as you and have the same viewpoints as you. And then you're having to write to a time frame as well. So you're under
Right,
pressure. Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, different dynamic. I
yeah,
learned in this Billboard article something else really interesting. They shared that they were going to release another EP of 5 or 6 songs, but doing Superband pushed their timeline back to the point, and then they had a tour that they jumped into in August of 2019. So they were only able to release the single. So I thought that was really interesting. We would have had like another EP of like 5 or 6 other songs. So,
yeah.
interesting.
They will have crept in somewhere along the line in some guise
Mhm.
or another, to be honest.
Yeah, they released Red as a single. It had 2 songs on it, Red and California, and then they embarked on their second world tour called We Rose You Live Tour. It started in August of 2019. It started in Seoul, and then they went to the United States for a total of 10 cities, and then back in November, they did a European leg with another 12 shows across 11 cities. What would have been 2.5 years into their since they debuted, already on tour. This would have been like their fourth leg of a tour, because the
Yeah.
Paint It Rose tour had 2 legs. We Rose You Live tour now had 2 legs. So just kind of their level of experience of touring, I think, at 2.5 years since debut is pretty impressive.
I think this will then come into the later story.
Mhm.
It's a lot for anybody to do.
It's a lot, and
And
if you
it's
yeah, if you remember, we commented on this in the Dawn when they were on the Paint the Red tour. They did all the songwriting in a matter of a month or 2, and then did all of the behind the scenes work to get that album recorded, mastered, mixed, interviews, music videos, concept photos for an October release, right? So these guys, again, their company is really working them hard, right?
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Definitely, yeah, which is kind of a shame. We have another article from Ear Milk that we are also gonna reference kind of as we talk about these 2 songs, so both of those articles are great to give a read to. Why don't you then kick us off, Kelly, with the details of the Red single album?
Right. So it was released on August the 13th, 2019, and it's a physical single that consisted of an A side, which was Red, and the B side of California, and the Red instrumental version as well. California, first track on there, even though Red is the A side, work that one out. I've still not managed to do that
I
one.
know that was a little
So
weird.
it is bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. But anyway, songwriting, arranging, and composing, obviously, all by the Rose. Hajun is on the drums. Jae Hong is on the bass. Jae Hong is also doing the electric guitar, and the acoustic guitar is done by Dojo. And chorus is Hajun and Jae Hong. Obviously, main vocals is a split between Sammy and Dojun as well. The recording engineer was Lee Gongjeon at the U Production Studio A and Lee Gyong Tak at Velvet Studios. The mix engineer was Gok Honjong at Coco Sound Studio, and the master engineer was Guan Namwu at 821 Sound. So they've gone back to 821 Sounds again for this.
Yeah, I think there's a few interesting things I picked up here. On different studios for recording than they had in the past, but the same master engineer. So obviously they've kind of stuck with the same mastering engineer person, but the different studios now. And then no Sammy on electric guitar.
Yeah.
What's up
Yeah.
with that?
Well, if the initial idea for the guitar came from Jay is best to play it.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, whoever initiated that guitar riff is the best person to carry it through, to play
Yeah,
it
maybe
in the
he did.
studio.
I mean,
Because this
here's
thing,
Jay playing. We said in the last episode just how multifaceted he is as a guitar player,
yeah,
right? And here he is playing
yeah,
both bass and electric guitar in California.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a fantastic musician, so, and that just says it
Fantastic
all.
musician. And Dojun on acoustic guitar. I like the inclusion of the acoustic guitar, I think, in this song. We haven't had
Yeah,
that in the other songs.
no, and it adds a really nice sort of movement and sound and development, but I'll get into that in a bit anyway, to the
Yeah.
actual song. So it was very definitely needed. So I'll do a breakdown of the actual track. So it's C sharp minor and it's 105 beats per minute, and it is, in my opinion, 2 minutes and 50 seconds of pop sunshine.
Okay. Here
Anne hates this song.
I wish they could see my face, Kelly, because it's not if you are a listener and you have listened to this podcast before, you will know how I feel about California. I feel like I've said it in 2 other episodes, and I am sorry, The Rose. I do not like this song.
I am going to attempt to change your mind.
I oh my gosh. I do not like this song. I skipped this song. You remember you said when we were talking about Insomnia on the Dawn breakdown, it was the most you'd ever listened to that song?
Yeah.
For this deep dive, this is the most I've ever listened to California.
Well, I think this is a fantastic song. It is a fantastic piece of musicianship. And the hero of this entire track is the bass.
Ooh, Jay coming in.
Jay, honestly, the bass on this track is fucking beautiful. It is gorgeous. It skips, it's got joy, it's got warmth, it's got depth. It's such a summertime song.
It's definitely like a summertime, just, fun. You wanna be driving with the windows down and just, like,
This
have
is
the hair
pop punk
your
bliss.
yeah, just, like, the wind blowing in your hair, singing about hummingbirds swimming. Yeah.
We all know they can swim. We're not
Yeah.
getting into this argument again. Um, get
Should
back
I
in your
waste a
box.
question if I ever go to a Rose concert? Should I waste a question away on, like, what the fuck was that lyric? Fans will be like, "Oh, your lyrics are so amazing." I'll be like, "What the fuck was that lyric about
Yeah,
hummingbirds?"
you're so deep. You're so deep. I don't know how to cope with it. You're so and then you just go, "What the fuck's that bloody lyric about hummingbirds swimming
It's up
in
with
grizzly
words.
bears?"
The lyric, you know what I call this song? Lyric soup. It's a lot of words
Um,
that mean nothing.
I get where the lyrics are coming from
All right,
in
I'm
a
skipping
way.
ahead in my rant. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the musicianship and the melodies, which is the best part of
Uh,
this song. It is the best part.
oh God, no! To be perfectly honest, I think you would love this song if the lyrics weren't on it.
I think I would too. I think they should have done the instrumental on this one. I think I would too. I think it really is the lyrics that, like, kind of I just I hate the lyrics. I don't like using that word is so strong, and I can't believe I'm using it in the same sentence about the rose, but
All I'm gonna say to you is, I can't sleep.
I can't I can't sleep.
Anyway,
Even with that song, we said that the lyrics were high quality. It was his delivery sounded like a whiny bitch. Here, he's like,
the lyrics may be in your sort of world suspect, but here the delivery is perfect.
Yeah.
The delivery of the lyrics on this song, absolute perfection. So let's go back to the music. So
Okay.
it starts with, now I pointed this out last time. At this point, Jay's favourite thing is a bass slide.
Mm-hmm.
This song starts with a bass slide. Vroom, straight in. You've got the jangly, very definite sort of summer indie rock jangly guitars in there, and then the acoustic guitar that just comes underneath just to fill it up and make it nice and round and full. And it's anthemic. It's sing along, or as friends of mine would describe it, it's a good bop.
It's a good well, I love in the Billboard article, they were so cute because they were so excited to finally release a happy, upbeat song because they literally
Yeah,
said they've done all emo songs up to that point.
yeah,
It's just like they
exactly.
kinda had, right?
Yeah.
And
I
so
mean,
Red was
you don't
Red and
expect it.
California.
Yeah, and they're both upbeat, and I think that's one of the reasons I love this double side single. I really love
Oh, I
this. I
loved it
think it's
too.
great.
Which I would have loved, like,
Um,
maybe that would have been the theme of a full album. It would have been more upbeat.
but this goes back to what I said to you previously on one of our past episodes.
Mm.
If this was their first single,
Mhm.
if Red was their first single, they would have had a different audience.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So about
Completely different
California,
audience.
they said in that article, that Billboard article, that the management company did not want them releasing California, and the Rose members fought for that song. So the company
Good
only wanted them
lads.
to release Red, which I thought was
No,
interesting.
good guys. I am with the guys for fighting for that because there's a place for this song and it's
I
a damn good piece of music.
I have to wonder a little bit too if maybe some of the hesitancy of the management company is this is their first all English song. They'd never had a song
Yeah.
before California that was all in English, and they actually said that they were asked in the interview, "Why is this all in English and not in Korean?" And Dojun was kinda like, "Well," the song like, it was kinda funny. I get what he's saying. He's like, "The song's about California, so you kinda it kind of wouldn't have the same effect if we're talking about California all in Korean." He's like, "Part of it is it
Yeah.
needs to be in English to really explain the feelings we have about, the vibe in California and how they feel about
Yeah.
it." So I was like, "Okay, that was a great answer."
I
I thought, totally made
I
sense.
think to go through some of the things that you might find slightly awkward in the lyrics though, I think some of the initial write down of some of the sentences was possibly in Korean.
Oh, maybe.
And then it's been translated, which might explain why some of it's slightly awkwardly phased.
I cannot fact check myself. So I almost don't want to say this because I don't like putting things out maybe into the ether net that maybe is not accurate, but I swear I heard Sammy say in an interview at some point that he didn't write this song, and I find like maybe that really is true. Like
Possibly.
it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like his voice
There's
and how
w
he writes
there's word
lyrics, right?
there's words in there that Sammy. There are definite bits where it's like, "Oh no, mate, put that in."
Mm.
That's what, but I know what you mean. It kind of feels like it could be, I think this is more of a collaboration of lyrics
I
than,
think so. Yeah, I think so too. Melody-wise, I think you're right. Like
so
it's happy, it's fun, it's upbeat. I think the acoustic guitar adds such a richness.
yeah,
Um,
it adds that depth.
yeah.
I mean, a 4 by 4
Okay.
to the floor drum beat all the way through. The rhythm is.
Okay.
It's literally, it's just do do do. It just
Hmm.
does what it says on the tin. It doesn't deviate at all.
He's not doing
Straight
this
out the gate.
fancy calypso beat that he did in Take Me Down.
No,
Horrible
no, no.
calypso
This
beat.
is straightforward. This is as straightforward as you can possibly get. As I said, the bass line's beautiful. It's got this beautiful skip, and literally Jay's moving around the fretboard to get this, and it's just so nice, and it evokes a warmth,
Mhm.
it evokes California, as silly as it sounds. It kind of reminds me in a way a little bit of Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Mm.
who is like, and I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers are the epitome of Californian music, really. I'm kind of not surprised by that. I tend to find that the guitar solo is very, you can't really call it a solo as such, but I'll give him solo. It's so joyful. It's simple, but it's joyful.
Yeah.
And it really does sort of like, it brings a smile to your face when you hear it. And it's just those days, it just gives you that feeling of it's just those days that you just don't give a fuck, to be perfectly
Yeah, I feel
honest.
like
You're just enjoying being with your friends.
yeah, I feel like I wanna be on a California beach, in Malibu and just
Yeah,
have the sea air in my face and not have a care in the world, roasting
yeah,
my s'mores and hot dogs with my
exactly.
friends and
Yeah, and that's what this song is. It's as simple as that. One of the and you've got to listen to this again because you will never unhear it. Now I'm going to point this out.
mm,
The bridge section where it drops away and then we just get Sammy's voice kicks in. He is channeling his inner Sting at that point.
mm,
The very first time I heard it, I was like, "Oh my god, he sounds like Sting."
mm.
And it's
I
the
think
only time I have ever heard his voice sound like anybody else.
Yeah, I think that the vocals for him and Dojun sound great on this song. I do think,
Yeah,
like, both
it's
of them sound incredible. I just hate literally the words coming out of his mouth. Okay, can I read some of these? Okay,
go on, go for it.
here's some of the worst. Driving through the clouds, swimming like a hummingbird. I don't want to say goodbye. I just wanna stay all night. Inside the crashing waves, sleeping like a grizzly bear. Like, seriously, those words all strung together make no sense. It's
I
his
love
lyrics
the
too.
idea. I love the idea of driving through the clouds. I think driving through the clouds is a really beautiful line because you do drive through the clouds in California.
But then he
When
follows it with singing
when
like a hummingbird? Like, what is that?
it depends how much you dropped before you start writing, doesn't it?
Which remember I said this in the last episode when I was ranting about the song? I had to go fact check that line because I thought hummingbirds can't swim, but I did fact check that and they really can.
They can.
But, like, who sat around and thought of that line? Like, what made you
It
think of, like, not like floating like a hummingbird or flying like a hummingbird? Somebody said swimming?
Probably because it might have been floating like a hummingbird, but the only thing is you go floating like a hummingbird, stinging like a bee. And that line's already been taken.
Yeah, I'm just like, "What?" And then like, the grizzly bear, like, what?
Yeah, but the grizzly bear's on the flag, isn't it, I
Yeah,
suppose?
I guess the grizzly bear is because that's, like, the state bear of California, but I don't know, maybe it's hummingbird is related to California or something.
I think it is actually.
I found this so odd because, I mean, Sammy grew up in a big portion of his life in California, right? So that's, like, considered
Yeah.
his hometown. So I get his connection to California, but I thought, up to this point, have the rest of the guys been there much? Like, they probably visited California on the Paint the Rose tour, but other
Yeah.
than that, it's like, what's this fascination with California? And, like, where did it come from?
It's one of those things though, isn't it? I mean,
I just
we all
found it
have
so odd.
fascination. I think we all have fascinations with places anyway. I know I
Mhm.
do. There are certain places that I've had fascinations with since I was a child. And then when you get there, you're like, I understand this because this place feels like home. And I kind of get that. I mean, I get that in a weird way, but we know I'm slightly strange anyway. And I mean, it might just be the fact that also when they did their first world tour and they got to California, that they actually had 5 minutes to themselves.
Yeah, maybe. It's funny
And that
because
might have been just that one moment in time where they could just be four guys just actually having, you know, because
I think
the
you're right because I watched, there is a great V Live, so they did a comeback V Live for this. It's all in Korean, so it was testing the limits of my listening comprehension for sure, but I was able to pull up the auto-generated Korean subtitles and use that to be able to understand what they say throughout. And there's some things when they talked about this song in that V Live, they talk about that where they went with it is kind of what you're saying, I think. Like that they
Yeah.
really wanted to try to invoke the feeling you get when you're there in California and just kind of free, right? I guess like this
Yeah.
like freedom,
Yeah.
refreshing vibe. And they said that they had already played this song to their fans during their concerts. And so they were so excited they got to put it on this album. So I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting. So they must
Yeah,
have been like
exactly.
previewing this song when they
Yeah.
were doing some of their shows before the
You've got to bear in mind at one point they didn't have enough songs to play a set,
Oh,
so they were doing
sure,
covers.
right. Right.
So they're gonna anything that they've got ready to play, they're just gonna play.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I understand why that would have happened. Now, you obviously go on about how much you don't like these lyrics. There are lyrics in it that I find truly, truly lovely and very, very beautiful. I love the fact that they actually sort of verbal check Sublime on there,
Yeah. Yeah.
as in the band Sublime. And I love that. I think that's great. It's just like, yeah, okay, that makes sense
Yeah. I like that part.
because that's a nod to Sammy's childhood as well.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
nod to the music he grew up
Mhm.
loving. Um, but I think one of my favourite lines in it is maybe we won't get that far, so let's enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
And I think all bands think like that. It's
Mhm.
like I say that you also have this unwavering faith of like, no, we're going to do it. We're just, you have this level of delusion because otherwise you don't even bother doing it if you don't have that level of delusion that you are
Mhm.
capable of doing it and you are going to do it and you are going to succeed and people, if you build it, they will come. But I like that line because to me that speaks of that's the quiet insecurity that every musician inside of them that actually it might all go pear shape
Yeah.
and it might not attain it. But I think that's such a lovely line because that's a band of brothers lines. That's them just
Mhm.
saying, do you know what, sod it, we're just going to do it. If nothing comes of it, it doesn't matter. We're doing it together and we're having fun.
Yeah.
And that to me is the whole idea of California. And I love
Yeah.
that.
Okay, well, that part wins me over, I'll say.
There you go.
It's just the
And the
swinging
bass
like a
line,
hummingbird. That and the bass line, I'll keep listening. I'll tell you what, I'll give a commitment to you and the Rose. I will stop skipping this song when it comes on.
Okay, good girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
All right,
girl.
let's move on to
I will skip insomnia though.
I can't sleep. Dear God. Okay, let's move on to Red. Songwriting, arrangement, composing. Again, all the Rose. On Red, drum Hajun, bass Jaehyun, guitar again Jaehyun. So no guitar played by Sammy on this song. Piano Dojun, and for the first time in any song of theirs, synths played by Dojun, which is the heart of this song. I can't wait to kind of dig into
Yeah.
that with you in the instrumentation and the melody. Chorus, The Rose, and So Ol Main. Recording engineer Lee Kyung Hwan at U Production Studio A. Lee Kyung Tak at Doob Studio, which is a cool name for a studio. Mixing at Coco Sound and mastering still at 821 Sound. So yeah, let's talk about kind of the melody on this. This is so interesting of the synths for the first time.
Yeah. So the basics of it, it's in A major and it's 128 beats per minute. So we are in techno territory.
Yes.
It's really upbeat. It's really,
Yes.
really upbeat. And to me, this is Dojo's track.
Yes.
Completely and utterly his track. It's got him stamped all over
Doesn't
it.
he have him stamped all over it? And I just think this is such a master track of like really showing off his ability in terms of just the level of production value, I think, of the song.
In terms of music-wise, what did you guys actually focus on this one?
Definitely the instrumental and the synth sounds, because I guess our music was always so much based on our original instruments, but like this one is more our instruments 50 and then the synth sounds 50, so it's a little bit more, I guess, trendy sound these days.
I don't think we sing his praises enough.
I don't either. Yes. Is he kind of just, you know what I think it might be about Dojun? I feel like he might be kind of, he's such the steady rock in the group that I feel like I think I take him a little bit for granted.
Possibly.
I do. I need to check myself. I need to like call out
The
his amazing contributions
the
to the band because there are just like so many to name.
and that's the thing. He is a master musician.
Yes.
But not only is he a master musician, he is a fucking perfectionist.
Yeah.
And you can see that. You can see, you can hear it. The sheer, as Sammy said, in the room at the end, because it literally looks like he has a room on stage.
He did say that in the event by all these instruments, all these different, you know, mixing things that he's doing to get the sound right and everything. I mean, the man, okay, maybe I'll take a step back and think about how what the complexity when they perform. He's singing vocals, so he's got that
Yes.
going for him. He is playing multiple guitars. He will move back and forth
Yes.
between an electric guitar and acoustic guitar. He
Mhm.
also handles the synths, and then he also plays keyboard,
Yes.
all during a performance.
Yes.
Like, let's just like
And if
realize that for a moment. Like, wow.
and if he could put cymbals between his knees and a harmonica in his mouth, he would do that
I
too.
think he would do that too.
He would.
Wow. Like, that is incredible.
And what we've also got to bear in mind with him is you will see footage of this. He is always the one on stage setting up.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that too. He is always the one. He is meticulous about how everything sounds. When like we talked about the backing track, like he would be meticulous about when it comes in or what volume is this, or even the production things like what shoots off and like when does that go off. And he is definitely, he pulls it all together. And I think he has a very clear vision in what he wants the overall production to sound like.
Yeah, and God, I respect the man for that. He is so good. And I think one of the reasons things might be slightly quieter with the development of this new album is because I think he has stepped up a little bit more into the production role.
I could see that. We said that maybe because they had so many outside producers working with them on Duel, maybe they wanted to bring it back more to themselves this time. Well, back to this track
every now and again
of Red, I 100% agree. I feel like this is Dojun all over it. You know, in the interviews, that you read for Air Milk and Billboard, he's so excited about this song and kind of where they were able to go with the more upbeat song. So this is my anthem. I will say, I feel like this is like an anthem for a lot of fans, but like
this,
like they
it is literally it's anthemic. It's as simple as that. And even the way the song is structured, it is structured to be anthemic. They knew what they were doing with this. They were onto a winner with it, and they knew they were onto a winner with it. So you start the track with those beautiful padded synths, and then which you will, if you've ever listened to dance music, you will hear padded synths throughout it. He used them during Sammy's set for the 4444 tour. So it starts with that, and then the keys come in. So this is electronica at its best, and it's mixed in really, really well. This is generally done by bands like Imagine Dragons. They tend to do that. They're an indie band, but they mix in lots of synths and other electronic stuff. It's so well done. And again, the bass line's brilliant on this. It's another one that skips all over the place, and it's just got that really nice tempo and gallop to it. The guitars, again, have this really lovely refrain. They're not over the top. There isn't one instrument in this that sticks out like a sore thumb. Everything works and threads together seamlessly, and it does it in a way that it enhances everything. It creates, it weaves a tapestry as such. you've not got a standout instrument that just sort of piques your interest and then pulls you back in, and you're just like, actually, do you know what, that bit didn't really work as such. But it's so lovely to actually hear all of those little snippets throughout it. At the very beginning, and I don't know whether you will actually, unless you've got your headphones on, you've got it on very, very loud. So you have the padded synths and the keyboards, and there's a crackling. There's a sound effect,
You know what I
and it
called
actually
it?
sounds like a crackling fire.
I called it snaps. I thought it sounded
Yeah,
like snaps. I heard that
yeah,
too. This is one that I'm really glad they gave us the instrumental. If
yes,
listeners, if you've really never listened to the instrumental, because Sammy's vocals on this are so iconic, I feel like you would
yeah,
very easily just not listen to the instrumental. All these unique sounds come through
very
on the
definitely.
instrumental. Yeah.
Um, And again, so going back to the earlier conversation of playback, that's something
Mhm.
you can't replicate on stage, so you'd have it used in playback. I tend to find with this as well. So as I said, it's got the anthemic thing and it's built as an anthem. So you get to that breakdown, you know what you're meant to do at that breakdown. That's when you get the audience clapping.
Mhm.
And to get the audience clapping, it then becomes the build and it builds back into the actual song. It's such an, I don't want to say it's such an obvious way to build the song, but it's an obviously built song. But there's a reason it's obvious.
Mhm.
And it works that way because it's songwriting 101. And but it's so brilliantly, brilliantly done. Um there's that there's also the fact. Now, obviously, we've mentioned the fact that we've had drums previously by Hajun who are, and it's brilliant. So Take Me Down, the
Mhm.
drums in that are magnificent. Drums in this, not so much.
Mhm.
And that's not to put any disrespect against him at all. He has played what was needed for this song, and most of it is literally just the bass kick.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like in this song, the bass is that underlying kind of driver, and then it's just all these amazing synths,
Yeah,
that are creating this like dance. You just want, and that's what Dojun said in the interview. Like he wanted to create a track that you just wanted to get up and dance to. And
yeah.
I think
And they
he
did
did.
that.
Like, you just can't help it but wanna dance to this song, and
Yeah.
dance
And the
freely, which goes into the lyrics, like, when we talk about the meaning of the lyrics, I think this is, now that I'm saying this, we're talking through this, I feel like here's another example, like we talked about on Dawn, where I feel like they make the melody of the song take you as a listener in the same journey that they are with the
yeah.
lyrics of just when this song, it's like what we talked about with EDM and how when you dance to EDM, you just like want to be free and
Yeah.
that freedom, that I
But again,
mhm.
as I've said, 128 beats per minute. It's
Yeah.
an EDM song.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I put that I love it starts with that single synth and Woo-sung's vocals at the beginning, then, like, these snaps that we talked about or crackle sound that you were kinda
Yeah.
describing comes in, then the drums come in, but the full melody doesn't, like, hit till about 52 seconds when
Yeah.
Sammy first kinda sings, "I wanna be," and he kinda you go into that, like, more, like, full melody
Yes.
hitting you. And then again, the tempo drops back down, building again with that amazing like bass line, coming through
Yeah.
in the background. I think what's interesting is this is the first song where only Usong does the vocals. There's no
Yeah.
Dojun vocals. What do you think the reason for that is?
Because it's too high.
Yeah, this song's pitch is extremely high, which
Yeah.
goes to what we've been saying. It becomes a struggle for Sammy to sing this song live.
So this is completely and utterly out of Dojune's range. Because as I said, I think he's more tenor than.
Why do you
he's
think
yeah,
they made it the pitch that high?
I don't know. Maybe he sat down on his. I won't say what I was gonna say.
What are you gonna say? I know what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say maybe he just sat down wrongly on his balls when they went to record, and it just hit a bit higher.
Oh my god! I know, like,
It's like that's the bit. That's the bit.
I wonder why they made this song so high.
I don't know. I really don't know. It didn't need to be.
It didn't need
But
to be. Yeah.
It didn't need to be. But saying that, actually, when you put that sort of because Sammy's in his falsetto at this isn't his chest register, he's at the top of his falsetto as well. There's nowhere else for him to go.
The whole song, I feel like. And then when he gets to the end, this is where I said, like, even in the Rabbit to the Moon performance, they kick up the backtrack for him because it becomes, and he's running around. So in this song, he's usually using the stage because he's not on guitar. All the other members are back to their instrument.
Let's put it this way: it's that high. The next step up is he's going to be calling dogs, and they're going to start howling.
Yeah.
This is really, really high.
Yeah, it's a shame because this is probably I would think it's probably one of the most challenging songs for him to perform, and it is a fan favorite. So can you fathom ever them doing a concert where they wouldn't do this song?
I mean, at some point it's going to come. At
Yeah,
some point,
I can't
it's going to be dropped.
Oh dear God!
some
I hope
point.
I see them before that because if I saw a Rose concert without Red, I would be so sad. This is my.
It's an amazing song. I
Well,
love this song.
I went crazy when DJ Raiden played the remix of this.
Yeah. You and the other so many thousand that were in that room as well.
I mean, give us that, DJ Raiden. I need that to be released somehow. That was amazing.
But yeah, I think eventually this song may vanish out.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh, that breaks my heart.
But no. But this is assuming that that they have a career that goes on for quite a bit longer.
I know.
And they have other hit singles, which
know.
they will. Which they will have other hit singles.
Yeah, I think what's interesting with this song is I felt like it goes into, I think, the synths that we were talking about, but Dojun really stepped up the complexity of the instrumentation in this song. So we said a lot in Void and Dawn. The songs were very simple, but this is kind of them stepping up that instrumentation. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is this is one of my favorite Rose songs. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, I mean, every time I hear this, it just brings a smile to my face, and I think it does most people, to be honest. Yeah, but I mean, the main thing is obviously how long can you keep that falsetto that high?
I know.
To be perfectly honest.
I know. I sang this at karaoke and I scored a 28 out of 100. So my alley cat range.
How do you score points at karaoke?
Oh yeah, karaoke. Noraebon gives you a score, and the little girl on the screen was like, she was like making fun of me that it was so bad, that my score was so bad. But yeah, I did not do well at this song. I couldn't hit those high notes.
Weirdly enough, I don't do karaoke.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do, and so I told you I sang Back to Me and I got a 95. I think Sammy would be proud of me.
Well done. I'm proud of you for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've witnessed karaoke. That's entertaining.
Yeah.
And then you sort of sit there going, I ain't singing because I've just heard what you
I would say sing is a loose word for me. I scream. So I screamed this song and got a 28. I wouldn't even say I sang it because I have no pitch or ear, or just I'm the worst.
So to protect the innocent, I remember once going out with my colleagues that I used to work with for the music promoter, and we went to do karaoke, and I sort of sat at the back with everybody going, "Come on, Kel, come on, you sing." And I'm like, "No, I'm not singing." And one of the guys I used to work with, bless him, had got a lisp.
Oh.
It's really painful listening to somebody
Ooh.
who's got a lisp singing certain
Oh
songs.
dear. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Remember you said
I
about your one bandmate that hates people singing S's, and you talked
yeah,
about that song you have called Saints
yeah,
of
that's
Success.
Fletch. Yeah, he,
At least that guy
I
wasn't
literally,
singing your
that's
song,
what
Saints of Excess. Saints
I was
of
back
Excess.
in.
Saints of Excess.
And the worst thing is, he also decided to do All My Life by Foo Fighters, which has that break in it, which is about
Oh.
20 seconds long, and it's just like one long sentence in one breath as well. That was the moment where I sort of slid down the wall to hide myself because I was in hysterics and I couldn't do
Well, back to Red. Let's talk about the meaning of the lyrics. I love the meaning of the lyrics of this song. It's just about kind of being true to yourself.
The Red is a song about red, and it's basically saying what you want to do, like the passions and like the feelings that you get towards something or somebody. So it's a really dancey song, and it's a kind of tropical synths all over the song. So please enjoy. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow,
It's
okay.
like going out of your comfort zone. It's okay to go out of your comfort zone. Out of the norm is okay.
That's like the main theme that they have. And to me, you know, the production, the instrumentation is all Dojun. I feel like these lyrics are all Sammy to me.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
is Sam.
this is him. This is his use of like fireworks, shooting stars, the color red. They're all a metaphor of being true to yourself and not
Yeah.
like letting your own color shine. Like basically like Back to California, and that's about feeling free. This is about not giving a fuck what other people think about you.
Yeah.
And just being who you are and not being ashamed of that. So yeah, and they've had so many other amazing future songs that are kind of come after this, like Definition of Ugly Is or You're Beautiful, that have some similar messages, but this was like the first, I think, song that kind of came with that message of just being comfortable with who you are. They were asked in the Earmilk interview of what kind of inspired them to write this song, and Dojun said, you know, he wanted a song that was going to make people jump, right? So again, kind of back to
Yeah.
the sound of the song and the instrumentation, where Woo-sung said for him, he really likes the lyric, throw your sticks and stones, that again, he kind of feels like in the face of any criticism, the color red symbolizes your passion and being outside the norm and just staying true to who
Yeah.
you are. Yeah, I love that. They gave in that V Live for their comeback some interesting behind the scenes tidbits when they filmed the music video. So this is kind of a fun music video. They're out in one scene, they're out on a beach playing their instruments, and then in the other scene they're in this like building and they're on the rooftop like playing their instruments. They've got the fireworks, they've got these like sparklers, and Hajun said that they set his drum kit up out on the beach and he sat down and he sank.
It's Hank.
He said he had half the drum
Oh,
kit went
because
down in the
this-
sand.
That's because obviously, you know, you don't just use a very small pinprick
know,
of weights on wet sand. Who would have thought that would have happened?
I just can get this visual of him sitting and the whole thing going. "Meh." He said, and then the tide kept coming in. So they would have to like scramble, you know, and move their stuff. And then the tide would come in, they'd come back. Like it sounded like it was kind of difficult out on the beach. And then when they did the sparklers, they talked about how they all got burnt. Like it burnt their
I'm not
hair, it burnt
surprised.
their
There is-
clothes. Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that, to be perfect.
I know. I'm like, oh, that's, because you got to do take after take after take. So they probably like had these things
Yeah.
like going, going on burning. So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun to hear some of the
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
there's a genius level of being a bloke involved with that. I know what. I've got this really clever idea. Let's just go and get fireworks and we'll run round. Oh, let's get some flares as well, because that'll look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
What's your take on the
Also,
lyrics of this song?
I really like these lyrics. I kind of find them as an overview, they're
Mhm,
very sweet lyrics.
mhm.
It's a very sort of just it's joyful, it's happy, it's fireworks, it's shooting stars and fireflies and all of those wonderful things. Um but actually if you dive a little bit deeper into it and then you start looking at the sort of ideology behind those nice words, it is when he says sticks and stones, it is
Mhm.
about criticism and ignoring the criticism and being true to yourself.
Yeah.
We know he has fought with this for most of his life.
Yeah. Mhm.
And this would have been, I think, when he'd sort of started to come out of that mental part that he'd struggled with
Yeah.
from being at school, because we all awkward as fuck at school. From that point, I think obviously him going into doing K-pop Idol, all the ramifications of that, the psychological effect it had on that, the first training school that he went into, and everything that happened there. This to me is him just sort of looking at it as a whole and going, I've been through all of that. Like, fuck it, I'm
Yeah.
me. Whether you like it or not, this is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And that part of it to me is beautiful.
I love
Really
that. Here's
beautiful. I
some of
really like that.
the lines I think really capture what you're saying. I like when he says, this is translating from the Korean into the English, walked this street alone, burn bright in the darkness. And then he says in English, throw your sticks and stones. Back to Korean, translated, he says, if you are different from others, it doesn't matter. Don't care. Just go with what feels right. And then he says in English, I want to be read. Don't care what anyone says. No, I don't want to be dead. Like fire soar up high, fireworks. I kind of feel like that line, I don't want to be dead, that he says in English, that line always stuck out to me. And I hadn't translated, so I didn't fully know everything he was saying around that line until I did this. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's back to what you said. We shared in our deep dive into She's in the Rain that Sammy shared very candidly his past and how he suffered from a deep depression. Um, and the feelings that he had during that time. And I do think like this is him being like, fuck all these other people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not letting that bother me, I am gonna just be
Yeah.
me and do my thing and screw what anybody else, says about that.
There is a level, as silly as it sounds, for how upbeat this song is, there is a level of anger behind this.
There is, and it's not until this end of the song though, because these are kind of the lyrics
Yeah.
towards the end that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because before that,
He's
he's
just
really
driving home his point at this.
Yeah, before that, he's kind of staying in the upbeat of just being, like the fireflies and the fireworks and just be red and be your own color. And then here at the end, he's
Yeah.
kind of digging into that, fuck what everybody else says. Like, I'm going to do me and be red. He didn't
Yeah.
have to
I
add
mean,
that in, but he did.
no, I mean, to be perfectly honest, this is his Rage Against the Machine, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. I mean, that's what this is.
Rage Against the Machine. I love that.
It's more like Rage Against the Hoover, isn't it? Rage Against the Machine. Come on, we know what he's like with inanimate objects.
Oh, so funny. I just love this song. Like I love everything about it. I love his
Yeah.
vocals, I love his lyricism, I love the message, I love Dojun's production and use of synths
Yeah.
and complexity behind it. yeah, I mean, this is just a classic. This is one of their best for sure.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I hope it's included in the set for a very, very, very long time. But I think they might need to look at how it's played back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, maybe they need to re-record it and re-record it in a different pitch for him.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to drop it down slightly.
I know, like maybe they should do that. I mean, I think personally they should have an album like Taylor Swift where they can just re-record all their own stuff in a different way, and so they can kind of have the masters of
Do
it.
you know the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, why?
So the reason that Taylor Swift re-recorded it was because she'd lost ownership of the masters.
Mhm.
And to gain back the ability to then reuse and resell those songs,
Mhm.
she had to re-record them.
Right.
So even though she's the actual songwriter, she couldn't actually do anything with the original recordings because she didn't own the masters.
Right.
So this is very similar to when people say, I want a copy of Void. Why don't you re-release Void? The guys don't have the masters to Void,
Right.
so they can't do it. So the only way they'd be able to do it is to re-record
Mhm.
Void and then reissue it. And you normally just call it something like, Void, the new sessions or
See, like
something like that.
they could re-record them all as acoustic versions.
Yes, anything
Yeah.
like that would do. Yeah,
Fans would
exactly.
go crazy. Again, okay, here we go, the Rose. We're giving you all these ideas. Are you listening?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, exactly. We're giving you loads and loads of ideas, and we're not on payroll.
And
Come
we're
on,
not
this is
even on your payroll. Like, fans would go crazy over
Yeah, they would.
these re-recordings. And they could,
Yeah.
they're all mini albums or the single. That could be an album.
Oh, easily. Easily, without any shadow of a doubt.
Telling you. We got some good ideas, Kelly. Hopefully someday they'll
Well,
listen
don't
to
use
us.
them themselves. I'll use them myself, there you go.
All right, Kelly, let's move into our humor segment. I've got a fun would you rather this time. So this is going to be Dojun and Sammy. So first is, would you rather trust Dojun holding on to your most valued possession? So keep this in mind. This is the man that is known for losing his phone. I think in one interview they literally say like he lost it like 10 different times.
I've heard that you're organized, but you also lose things.
Well, yes.
How does that work?
Well, first, I think he lost his phone recently, like a week ago before we came to America. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've seen Leo lose like 10 different other phones as well. So, and this is like no joke. Not
Wow.
even like.
It was my 11th phone that I lost.
Oh, was it the
last-
11th one? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like.
But you count, you know how many phones you've lost, so obviously you're organized.
Exactly.
Wow, in that way, yes.
There's
makes
not a
sense.
single other person I know who's lost 11 phones and knows that they've lost 11 phones.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty impressive, I gotta say.
Like, I like to organize things in order, or
Right.
like how they look,
Right.
When it's
like
in my
color
room,
coding,
yeah,
stuff like that.
when it's in my room or like my personal space, I do that a lot. But I don't know.
But if you're a phone,
my phones or something that is
Not good.
big, I tend to lose them a lot, and I hate it. I hate myself for doing that.
wow. No, don't hate. Come on, we're all learning here. Don't worry.
Or trust Sammy. Trust Sammy with your deepest, darkest secret. And keep in mind, I think not only is he the spoiler king, but I think this man's a pushover. So I think he kind of talks a good talk, but if you ever notice, he'll say in lives to Black Roses, "No, I'm not going to tell you guys that." And then as soon as somebody pushes him a little bit, he always gives in. So keep that in
Seriously?
mind. That I think, yeah. So
These are the
which
two
are you gonna pick?
choices. These are the two choices. This isn't even a case
Yeah,
of
this
the
is the
lesser of two evils. It's not the lesser of two evils. This is just two evils. Oh my God, woman, what were you thinking?
There is no lesser, right?
I'm trying to think what my most valued possession is, and whether or not I'd actually allow him anywhere near it.
I know. In this day and age, I feel like mine might be my phone.
That's probably
Like,
the
what would
worst
I do
thing,
if I
isn't
didn't
it?
have my phone?
It's like everything that's actually on there. I mean, it's replaced absolutely everything, hasn't it? So, I mean, it could be your most valued possession. Oh
It really
God.
could be
Oh,
nowadays. Yeah.
no. I mean, I mean, he's not a possession, but probably my most valued thing in the world is Lando. I don't know whether I trust him with my dog.
Dog?
Do not lose my dog.
He's not Hajun. Hajun takes good care of Bella.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bella's gorgeous. She's so lovely.
Bella is so
Yeah.
cute. She is like the cutest thing in the world. So no,
She's so
Dojun, I don't know.
she's
I
gorgeous.
don't know. Did Dojun have a pet?
I think
Does he have a
hasn't
pet?
he got a dog? I'm sure I've seen
I have
photographs
no clue.
with him, like the family dog, I think. I'm sure. I might be imagining that, but then again. But oh, Trust Sammy with your deepest, darkest secret.
Like I said, let's keep this in mind. Sammy talks a good talk, but like I feel like this man can be talked into spilling the beans.
Do you honestly and truthfully think I mean, I've got some absolute pearls, to be perfect. I am waiting until I can write my biography, and it's just going to be called Flogging a Dead Horse. That's what I'm saving my for. When it gets to that point, it's just like, no, I'm going to write a biography now. I'm just upset everybody.
We've been laughing that there is literally a reason that this man
It's
has
called the
been
Spoiler King. I know.
Yeah,
I
and
can't
is
believe
not
you've
on
given me these
live.
two.
The man signed an NDA and still, in the last Rose Couch, was holding his tongue on whatever amazing news
It's killing
they
him,
have
isn't it?
forward.
It is killing him. This is why he's been so
It is
quiet. You do know
killing
this.
him.
It is absolutely killing
It
him.
is killing him.
Oh God! And you're going to make me choose one of these.
Yeah.
This isn't fair. You see, when Jay was on the other day, when we did Into the Doom, you gave him a serious one. You were like, you can have a serious would you rather, or you can have a fun would you rather. He no. He did not get this could be life or death on either side, and you've got Dojun or you've got Sammy. Life or death. Life or death, woman.
He was our guest. We give our guest a choice. You're not a guest. You get.
Thanks. Thanks for that. Thank you. I love you. Have I not told you this? Oh, for God's sake! Oh, I don't want to. Oh no. Okay.
I don't know. This is hard too.
Oh God, I'm gonna regret saying this.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say. Whenever you say that, I know you're gonna go Sammy.
God, I trust the Spoiler King. Why did I say that?
Whatever you say, I'm gonna regret this. I know you're picking Sammy.
I know,
you know what?
No, but you've got to bear in mind, I have a mean resting bitch face.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I could scare him shitless.
You know what? This is hard. I think because literally, I don't know what this says about me, but I do think my most prized possession is my phone right now. And Dojun has a record of losing his phone. And I don't know if I have any deep dark secrets. I'm a very boring person. So I think I'm gonna go Sammy. Whatever I
Oh, you're always gonna go Sammy though, aren't you? Because you're a Kim Delulu. I said that. I said this out of sheer sort of like my most valued thing, not possession, but the most valued thing that I have is my gorgeous dog. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I mean, I know he's chipped and everything else, but I still want to trust him. No, I mean, he's a bit bigger than a mobile phone. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you've seen my dog. He's a big lad.
Dojun won't lose that.
I mean, come on.
He'll go over to Hajun's house and be like, help me watch this dog.
It would be, would you mind awfully just looking after this very large standard poodle?
He would take care of your dog really well.
He
like we
would.
said.
He would. Yeah, to be perfectly honest. Or actually, you'd just give the dog to Sammy and just say, "Look after the dog." That's actually what you'd do, and then I'd never get my dog back.
Aw.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
though, would I? No, I'd never get my dog back. Oh dear,
All right. Well, it
I
looks
can't
like
believe you've asked that. You're
I know it
mean.
looks like we both have such little trust in Dojun to keep valuable things, but we're trusting the spoiler king, who is a complete pushover, with our most deepest, darkest secret. So I don't know what that says about Dojun, but
Look,
Yeah.
everything else I trust him with. Just not. Yeah, I wouldn't give him the Hope Diamond and say, just keep that in your back pocket.
hold on to this.
Yeah, it should be like,
Put this in a
whoops.
safe place where you're gonna remember where it is, Dojun.
It's like, I thought I'd put this in my back pocket. Where's it gone? And you're like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
I thought I had that.
I thought I
Yeah,
had
I
it.
could
I'm not
just
100%.
go.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm surprised he's not lost himself. We know this is the reason that he hasn't been on anything. He hasn't reposted anything that the rest of the band have reposted because he's forgotten his
Maybe.
passwords. He's already said
Maybe
before he's
lost
forgotten his
phone again.
possibly.
That's the answer. Dojun's been silent because he lost his phone, so he can't get
There we
on
go.
Instagram
There we go.
to repost anything.
That's exactly it. Definitely.
That's hysterical. All right. Well, listeners, tell us what you would pick. Are you trusting Dojun to hold on to your most valuable possession? Are you going to trust Sammy with your deepest, darkest secret? We can't wait to hear. Please rate our podcast. Leave us comments about this episode. We love your feedback. Continue with the emails. Again, thank you to all the listeners that take a lot of time to send us really thoughtful emails. We enjoy them so much. Follow us on social media if you already don't. On Instagram, TikTok, and X, we are at KRock_cast.
Click here to subscribe.
Email us at krock.cast@gmail.com. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.